To say that Levi was pissed is an absolute understatement. Today was supposed to be his day off, but Erwin told him that his team should present as early as possible, so that's already a blow. Early this morning, he found out that he had magically run out of tea and his coffee maker was broken, so he had to settle for some shitty instant coffee that tasted like bitter vinegar. Then, on his way to work, an old lady asked him to help her carry 3 boxes of peaches to her trunk because the 28-year-old piece of shit of son refused to leave the passenger seat, which made him late. And, during office hours, his co-leader brought the warm flash drive for the presentation, so, as a team leader, he had to improvise a new speech for the proposal without any visuals. Even then, after everything, he was fine. After all, it takes a lot to break a Levi Ackerman. Those were just some minor inconveniences that he would live with for a day. Well, until Hange Zoey happily put the cherry on top when they called him to their office. They told him cheerfully Levi wanted to slap that grin off their face. Literally. That they left their stupid, not really, he loves the animal more than he lets on. Cats on his apartment complex to be babysat, thinking that it was his day off. But after finding out that he's not home, Hange left the cat on his neighbors instead. However, that wasn't what made him explode. The worst, the arguably best thing that happened to him was because of who Hange gave the cat to, because out of everyone, out of the 4 other apartments on the same floor as him, Hange just had to pick yours. Which neighbor? Levi hissed. It was listener from 305. Hange exclaimed a little too proudly to not be suspicious. So, after grabbing the brunette's collar and shaking them vigorously a few times before throwing them back on their chair, he decided he'd rather get the task over with. Not before throwing another deadly glare at Hange, who just grinned at him unbothered. Now, he stood in front of your place, hand hovering over the wood as he think of how he should knock. The light reflects on the stainless 305 that was embedded on the door, looking as if they were glancing smugly at him and daring him to actually do it. He clicked his tongue in annoyance with himself and deduced that he may have been hanging out too much with Hange, that he, too, has gone crazy. Fucking hell, just relax, knock up, pick up the cat and leave. Levi tapped the door with enough force, and the sound of his 3 knocks resonated across the empty alleyway. He wondered if he was too aggressive and nearly panicked until he heard the unlocking of the knob. You look so distantly cute in your very plain but comfortable clothes when you opened the door. If Levi's heart was really ice cold, as his glasses-wearing friend always says, then it's not anymore, because he's pretty damn sure it melted right there and there. Oh, hello. You greeted, eyes blinking at him in confusion. Did 4 eyes leave the cat? It didn't mean to sound so disinterested to talk to you, because trust him, he absolutely does. He hopes you understand. You're just nervous. Don't be so tense. He scolded himself. 4 eyes. Oh, Hange. Oh yeah, they did. Kina's sleeping right there. Do you want to come in? You offered nicely after the realization, opening the door wider as a gesture for him to come in. Levi softly gulped and prayed to whoever up there's that you didn't notice. He just gave you a wordless nod and walked in. He could cry tears of joy that you didn't find him rude and was still kind enough to invite him. He could and would, really, but Levi Ackerman doesn't cry. The first thing he noticed on your home when he stepped inside was the fact that it was clean. The cat's thing may be literally on the ground in front of the sofa and his eyes zoomed in on the stray cat hair, but everything else was pristine and organized. Levi managed to stop himself from looking around too much to avoid making himself look like a weirdo and sat on the couch beside the napping, feeling stiffly. Levi, right? I'm listener. You introduced yourself, closing the door again and walking over to the living room where the 2 of them were. You know me. His brow raised a mere fraction. Levi was unable to hide his surprise. Anyone who knows him well would notice the slightest uncharacteristic phrase of pitch in his tone. He quickly composed himself and cleared his throat, seeming stiffer than before. Then fuck shitty hair or eyebrows in here. Yeah, we met on our first day here, remember? Plus our neighbors like you. I've heard good things. I don't actually have a lot of interaction with you this day though. I was starting to think that you're avoiding me or something. You joked and started packing the cat's toys. I wasn't. He answered a little too quickly for his liking. He wanted to punch himself and maybe he will later after he gets back to his own home. For now, the only person getting punched is Hange, and his eyebrow twitched at the top in annoyance until he heard you giggle. And oh gosh, your laugh is better than any music he's ever heard. Better than any band he'll ever listen to. Alright, maybe he's just exaggerating now and glorifying too much. How is he supposed to not? He fucking likes you, okay? I'm sure you aren't. You stated, amused at his defensiveness, and walked toward your small kitchen. Do you want some tea? Ange mentioned something about you liking it when they're so mine. See? Levi craned his head and saw you pointing adorably at one of your open cupboard. He looked at the boxes and boxes of different teas in different brands that he knows aren't some generic shit because obviously Levi's know his teas. Yeah, sure, if you don't mind. He nodded coolly. Geneva black tea is good. No milk and no sugar. Wow, you really are as much of a tea enthusiast as Ange said. You perked up at his choice. Most people find it floral for black tea, especially when drunk plain. But it does actually depend on the temperature you start steeping it in. That surprised him. He didn't think you'll know something like that, but here you are. You handed him his mug and he felt a flutter in his stomach when your hand brushed against his. The butterflies in his intestines seemed energetic today. And just when you thought you couldn't be any more attractive, the way you blend his tea was immaculate. Not better than how he does it though. He's his #1 tea maker. Maybe I'm just angry. He lied to himself. You know, like a liar. I'm surprised Hange left their cats on me, a total stranger. You started, still baffled, at direction. Good things I like cats. Tell them they should be more careful with who they leave their pets with next time. I would, but 4 eyes never listen. They've always been reckless like that. They've got gut intuition though, so they are not entirely useless as a boss. Levi replied, relieved that he could hold a civil conversation with you. They're his superior? At work? He asked, both surprised and impressed. Something like that. I'm still surprised about it, and it's been 2 years. He shrugged, taking a sip of a beverage in his hands. Well, I hope Kina will be in better hands, Heath, Hange, and I hope they don't leave him with stranger again. Don't worry about it, I knock some sense into 4 eyes. Plus, I told you they have good intuition, so it doesn't surprise me that they left the cats with you. He rubbed Kina's hands, making the cat purr. I'm taking that as a compliment then. You smiled through your own mug as he hummed in reply. You watched Levi scratch the cat's ears with a soft look on his face. His brows were relaxed, his teal eyes were gentle, and although not smiling, his lips were no longer in a frown. His shoulders were considerably less tense too. You could almost hear the sigh of content through his nose. You find it cute how his exterior can easily be broken down by such a small animal. And then, your phone rang, snapping you and Levi out of your separate thought and waking up the feeling from his afternoon nap. Oh, excuse me for a sec. You stood up, grabbing the device from the counter. Levi can't remember when did he start having this dumb crush on you. Was it when he saw you gave nearly half of your grocery to the street children in town? Or maybe it was when you showed him around the entirety of the apartment building by being perfectly equally respectful and friendly without being put off by his aloofness. He doesn't know, and he doesn't care. All he knows is that every day passes, he just keeps liking you more and more. You went back to the living room with an apologetic expression, and Levi looked up to you with mild concern. I'm sorry. My brother called asking for help with his studying. I see. He nodded. I guess we should leave then. Levi felt a little disappointed that you couldn't talk with him anymore, and based on the small cute pout on your lips, he guessed you felt the same. He picked up Kina, who curled in his arms, and you handed him the bag he came with. Sorry for waking you up, bud. You gave the cat's head a pat, and he nuzzled further in your hand. I'm sure he enjoyed his overstayed welcome here. Levi glared affectionately at the cat as you let them out. He gave one last look at him and the feline, sending them both a pretty smile. I'll see you around. You and Kina. Maybe Hange too. Your tone was hopeful. How could he say no? For the first time that day, or was it that week? Levi's lips curled upward gently. Yeah.
Got